Okay, in this video on how to be happy, we're going to cover physical health, specifically diet, nutrition, and fasting, some timeless principles. So I'll just open up the deck. Okay, on how to be happy. So physical health, we're going to be covering diet and nutrition. The other areas we're going to be covering is supplements, strength training and cardio, sleep, and on mental health, we're going to be covering inner and outer. They'll come up soon on the next video. So quick disclaimer, none of this is medical advice. Please consult your local drug dealing doctor, and everything in this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay, so quick history. I've been studying diet and nutrition since 2009, around 13 years, the date of this recording. I was doing paleo and high-fat diets back in 2009 before it was mainstream and cool. The only resources back then was forums and marksdailyapple.com. To be honest, I don't even know how I found it. There's so much more I could say about this subject, but I value your time, so most important things are here in this video that will make 99% of the difference. Also, for a limited time, I've opened up my DMs on Twitter, so no matter what your current issues are, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Hopefully I can point you in the right direction. I'll be happy to help for free. There's no strings attached. So, quick intro. The following will work for 70 to 80% of people, but there is no fixed rule. Nutrition is the precursor to all physical health. It's kind of amazing how many people have no idea the damage of what they put in their mouth actually does to their body. Not only to be healthy, but to look great. It's like 80% diet, maybe even 90%. So do not BS yourself thinking that training hard makes a huge difference. It will not. It's, your diet is everything. Also, you have to realize, obviously you need to go watch all the other videos that are going to come out. It may already be uploaded when you're watching this, but everything is linked. So everything must be fixed. But there's not many things to focus on, and it's easy once you're on a roll and you're doing this. So your diet is linked to your mental health. Your hormones are then also linked to your diet. And your physical training is linked to your nutrient partitioning, which is like how your body breaks down and decides what to do with fat or protein. Your sleep affects your hormones, which in turn affect your mental health, and your nutrient partitioning, which in turn affect your body composition, which in turn affects your hormones, and so on. So you get this cluster F of relationships of problems. So, okay, so first things first, you need to test where you're currently at. So if you haven't done this, many people have nowadays, but if you haven't done this, this is the first thing you need to do today. So order a at-home blood test. You can, wherever you are in the world, there will be websites that will pop up on Google, so just Google it. They will try to sell you a billion different types of tests. Most of them don't matter. The only things that matter are the following: testosterone, liver function, lipids, and HbA1c. Testosterone is obviously the most important hormone in your body that needs to be to a decent level. You can, again, Google that and figure out which level you're at. Most of the services you will use will tell you what a normal level is. It's probably, their baseline is probably a bit too low, so do your own research on that as well. Liver function as well, they'll cover that. Their kind of standard ranges are pretty reasonable. Same goes for lipids. This is the cholesterol in your blood. This is a more complicated subject, but again, the guides they'll give you when they give you the results will give you everything you need. And HbA1c is really important for inflammation. Again, they'll show you what the ranges are. The next thing is to test your body fat percentage accurately. Now, using electronic scales is not the way to do this. It is very inaccurate in both directions. So for me, for example, it tells me I'm 20% body fat, but I'm actually 12%. So just buy the fat calipers off Amazon. It will cost you probably less than €10, $10. They're really cheap. They're just pieces of plastic. And then use the Jason Pollock 3-site skin fold calculator. I'll put a link in the description to that. That just means you just take a pinch from your stomach, a pinch from your thigh, and a pinch from your chest, and then you punch in the numbers, you put in your age, your height, and it comes up with an estimation. Again, it's not the most accurate. any body fat test is inaccurate, but this is the best thing to use. And the key thing with all measurement is to use the same measurement over time. So obviously track this over time, and then if this is going down, your body fat is obviously reducing. The reason that I point this out is that people use weight as a measurement, and weight is really dangerous because, well, dangerous is a bit hyperbolic, but it will give you a false impression of success, but also the opposite. So sometimes you'll notice your weight does not go down, but you're looking better in the mirror. And this is typically you recomping or water dropping from your body. So using these calipers is just a great way of just knowing exactly what your body fat percentage is, if it's going up or going down. But obviously weighing yourself once a week is a good thing to do if you are cutting weight, because overall your body weight will come down over time, but sometimes it may just level out. But it's important to know if it's not going up as well. Okay, so gut health. This is the core of most of the problems with most people's health. There is not enough education about it. It's a great time today because you can go on YouTube and you can watch a million videos on this and many Joe Rogan podcasts. But if you have serious issues, you may not even know that you have issues with your gut health, but most problems are from the gut. It's also a source of a lot of the depression today as well. This is to do with the link between the gut and the brain. Again, this is just my opinion, so do your own research, but the diet will help significantly, but it's likely you need to fix your gut first. So the best way to do this, if you do have problems with your gut, is doing rolling long fasts, so 48 to 72 hour fasts. I'll discuss exactly how to do these fasts later in this video, so don't miss it. It makes the process like 5 times easier. Again, this is a rule of thumb for 70 to 80% of people. None of this is medical advice, and consult your doctor first. Okay, depression, sensitive subject. So most depression, in my opinion, is fake depression. It's not real depression. It's not clinical depression. So this is down to hormones and chemical imbalances. They have a cascade of problems that it's a ripple effect. It causes other problems, which then make the problem worse, which makes the problem worse, and it's like a vicious circle. So modern life has a huge effect on this. Blue light, the lack of sunlight, which is a lack of D3, which is a precursor to testosterone. Lack of heavy lifting is a really important thing. So you'll notice many men today are quite, I wouldn't even say lean, I'd just say skinny. You would be surprised if you test your testosterone. I've done this myself before doing lots of Olympic lifting, so things like deadlifting and squatting. And again, it doesn't need to be a huge amount of weight, it just needs to be really hard for you to lift. This will signal things in your body that will increase your testosterone, and you'll be surprised how little men actually do. There's not many people that actually do heavy lifting. It's really important. So, and again, you can go crazy with that. I'll talk about this on another video, but you don't need to lift more than between 100% to 150% of your body weight. There's people out there that try to lift, 200, 300 kilo on squat and all this. It's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. You just need to lift heavy. The other thing is lack of challenge. Challenge is a feedback loop for testosterone. So when you go through challenge and then you have success, you get an increase in testosterone and it increases the loop. If you don't have any challenge in life, you have no signal. So that's the other thing. And obviously our day-to-day jobs that are killing us slowly. But the most important factor, after pointing out all of this and rambling on, is nutrition. What follows will reduce, if not remove, most depression from most people. So, genetics and the Equator rule. In general, the food you should consume should follow your genetics. In short, the further your genetics originate from the equator, e.g. Europe, the United States, the less grains and, most importantly, the less carbohydrates you should consume. In recent years, diet has also replaced religion and ideology, so be very careful if this is a new subject for you, to not join any cults, vegan, keto, paleo, low carb. they all are full of zealots and people that become their identity gets wrapped up with the diet. Again, it kind of replaces religion. So these are just cold hard facts and experience. So in short, be pragmatic. Okay, you have to see what works for you and your body. But for example, if your genetics are from Central Africa, for example, right on the equator, you can likely eat a ton of rice and grains and oats and eat relatively low fat, high carb diet and be lean as hell. But if you're from Northern Europe, for example, Scotland, or I don't know, Sweden, for example, you probably shouldn't be having any carbs ever. And I'm speaking for myself, obviously, because I'm from England. So, roughly 50 grams of carbs a day. And really only having grain. If you are going to have grains, maybe once or maximum twice per week. Okay, so in summary, what's the diet? Again, you have to follow the Equator rule, but in general, for most people, eat meat, fish, whole eggs, nuts, and green vegetables. That's it. If you're, when you're kind of 10 to 12% body fat, which you'll know obviously by getting the calipers, or female kind of 15 to 18%, you can start to add fruit into your diet to increase your carbs, and you can do these. You can also do these refeeds. This is what I do now. I'm around 12% body fat, and it's really easy actually, and I just feel so much better eating like this. This was my diet kind of pre-2013. I've had bouts of doing it on and off, but I haven't done it religiously. But recently I've been focusing more on this kind of the Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday having more flexibility, and I just feel so much better. And it's really easy to stick within the calories. The other thing is calories do matter. Okay, so what you'll find as you kind of go deeper down this rabbit hole of high fat, low carb, is people start to say that calories don't matter and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So there has been many studies on this, and when you equate for calories, which is the energy balance in your body, it doesn't make a difference if you have low fat or high fat. It doesn't make any difference. But I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're trying to cut weight. Most people are always trying to cut weight. They're always a bit overweight. They're not as lean as they would like to be. So simply put, for men, if you think in pounds, then it's 10 times your body weight is the calories you should be consuming. If you think in kilos, then it's 22 times your body weight in kilos is the calories you should be consuming. Track your food using an app called MyFitnessPal. You don't need to buy the premium version. You can just use the free version. And this is really important. So the most important goal is the protein. I aim for around 35% to come from protein, 55% from fat, and 10% from carbs. On a good day, on a day where I'm being more flexible, say the weekend, and there is no measurement except for the calories. I tried to make sure for my body weight I'm not going over, say, 2,500 for the day, and then in the week I'm kind of 1,800. What you'll notice is this is not strict keto. Okay, the reason it's not strict is, first of all, it's really hard to consume that amount of fat. Strict keto is more like 80% fat. So it's first of all, it's really difficult. It's not enjoyable. It's you have problems with digestion. Also, there's a cascade of issues with I found with strength and muscle loss as well. It's not enjoyable. It's not sustainable, simply put. So this I find really enjoyable, really easy. So I just kind of do this in the week. The weekend I have more flexibility. So okay, a couple of exceptions. If you're doing high intensity training, CrossFit or Jiu-Jitsu, I do Jiu-Jitsu, which means you're redlining yourself for 5-minute rounds, for 4 or 5 of those rounds. So that's 20 to 25 minutes of redlining. then really you need to be having carbs the day before and the day of the training. Why do I say the day before? Well, it takes a while to fill your glycogen stores, and if you're relatively low carb for an extended period of time, your glycogen stores are going to be right down low. So you're going to have problems with training, you're going to have problems with performance. So you really need to consume some of those carbs the day before and the day of the training. Some people say take it just before the training and just after, but that doesn't work for me. And I did some research on this because simply it doesn't get into the glycogen stores. It's kind of baked the day before. So, but if you're doing low intensity, so you're doing a few jogs, a few runs a week, and you're doing heavy weightlifting, then you don't need to do any of this. You can just like stick to the strictness of this and just 50 carbs a day and just moderate fat, high protein, and you'll feel amazing. You'll feel great, and you'll get a lot of benefit. You won't lose any muscle, and you'll just drop fat really fast. Okay, time restricted eating and intermittent fasting. I've done this for many years. There is a long list of benefits, but it turns out after they did the research that actually most of the benefits are coming from the calorie restriction. It's not the fasting. Now it obviously does give a huge benefit to your digestion because you're giving yourself a break, and I'm not denying those benefits, but mostly it's down to the calorie restriction. So simply, if you don't know anything about this, intermittent fasting means simply just skip breakfast, eat between roughly, you can do any range you like, but between 12 and 8 o'clock. That means lunch and dinner. But the first time you try this, the first 3 to 5 days will be really hard. If you want to make it easier on yourself, drink sparkling water and black coffee in the morning. It pretty much blunts all your hunger, and then by the time it gets to lunchtime, you're hungry, you eat, you didn't really notice the fasting. It doesn't actually help you burn more body fat. It's just all about calorie restriction. So again, it's just calories. So that's the reason why people do it. Don't become religious about it. Many people do. If it makes, you may find for your body that if you do intermittent fasting, it actually makes it harder for you to hit your calorie goal, meaning you end up going extreme and eating too many calories on a certain day. If that's the case, forget about it. You don't need to do it. You have to find what works best for you. Okay, so a little bit more into fasting. Fasting has, like real fasting, meaning like more than a few days or more than 24 hours, has a long list of benefits. The problem is to achieve those benefits, you need to have fasted for at least kind of 36 hours. Now, this is the best protocol I've found. I've tried everything. I've tried every variation. I've done fasts for more than a week before. I think 7 or 8 days was my longest. So this is the best protocol. Do it for 3 to 4 days of the week. That means you eat between 8 and 10 o'clock. The other 3 days, you just eat in normal waking hours, kind of 3 meals. What I've found online and what I think is true is that this stops your body from adapting to the intermittent fasting. So it forces the good stress response repeatedly versus your body adapting to it after 2-3 weeks. Also, once a month, do a fast for 48 hours. So the best app, I didn't write this down, but the app I use on my phone for this that's really good for tracking this because I'm dumb and I forget. It's called Zero. It's free, so use the Zero app to track how much you've fasted. And then twice a year, do a fast for 72 hours. Some people say do this every quarter, but I can't be bothered. It's not going to make that much difference. This will make all the difference anyway. So, and then the most important factor is how do you make the fasting easy? The way you make the fasting easy is this: you drink 2 liters of water per day, and you put with it 1 teaspoon of sodium, 1 teaspoon of potassium, which is, you can buy in a supermarket, it's called no salt or low salt. It just has basically all the sodium removed and it's just potassium. Half a teaspoon of baking soda, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Don't worry, it's not disgusting when you put it with the water, it's not bad at all. And half the fresh juice from half a lemon. This is all from Cole Robinson. His YouTube channel is called Snake Diet. I recommend you go look at it. Why is this? Okay, so what happens when you're fasting is because you are not consuming any carbs, your body basically flushes all of its electrolytes. That basically means sodium, potassium. And what that does is that affects organ function, but it affects your muscles. It makes you feel like crap. You feel really bad. And, it depends on how much your body is detoxing as well. Your body can flush even more, so it can exaggerate how much it flushes. So then you just feel absolutely terrible. You have huge fatigue. If you supplement with this, you have no problems. Like I've done all different types of fasts. This makes it, no exaggeration, 5 times easier. It's almost not a fast if you drink this through the day. The other thing is there is specific reasons for this. These ingredients. So the baking soda helps keep your kidneys cool, because your kidneys are I'll talk about this in the next slide, but your kidneys are processing all the toxins, and the baking soda is helping your kidneys process those toxins. Also, the lemon juice and the apple cider vinegar is helping with that as well. It's also helping with bowel movement as well. So these are, I'd say, the baking soda, the apple cider vinegar, and the lemon are additional. The most important factors are the sodium and the potassium. But if you put in the lemon juice, it also makes it taste good. So again, this is the way to make the fasting 5 times easier. You don't need to do this when you're intermittent fasting. This is just for extended fasts, 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours. It makes the process easy. Also, if you take this, you can train at the gym. You'd be surprised. You'll have you'll have normal energy. You will be surprised. But if you don't have it, you will feel terrible training at the gym. Okay, if you're obese, what would I do if I was more than 30% body fat? Okay, I would drink that mixture. That I think he calls it snake juice, right? It's the lemon juice, the apple cider vinegar, potassium, sodium, and baking soda. I would drink that, and I would just fast for like 30 to 60 days. I would do that because I now have the experience of fasting, so I feel comfortable doing it. I don't recommend you do this if you've never fasted before. But if you have a high body fat, you will not die. Nothing bad will happen to you. This mixture of water will keep all of your organs functioning correctly. You'll not feel fatigue, and your body will basically switch to burning fat, and it will churn through all of that fat on your body. If you're really, really overweight, you could fast. There's an example of a guy who fasted literally for 365 days. He was like 500 pounds or something. So you don't need the protein, you don't need the carbs. Your body can just operate on the fat. It creates, we haven't talked about it yet, but it creates something called ketones, which your brain and your body will operate off. There's also another process to create glycogen in the body. We don't need to go through it, but ultimately, that's what you could do if you were really, really overweight and you really want to cut the weight. Most diets will take a really long time to cut the weight. This is what I would do if I was really overweight. The main issue that I mentioned before is your kidneys. So I think the best thing to do if you don't want to tax your body too much is to just do 72 to 96 hour rolling fasts. Refeed on meat and fruit. I won't go into the details why, but that's what I would do if I really wanted to lose, if I had a serious amount of weight to lose, and keep your body healthy and keep it all safe and stop your kidneys from burning out. Supplements. I will cover this in a lot of detail on the next video, but most importantly, a high quality fish oil, around 1.5 grams for every percentage of body fat. So if you're 20% body fat, you're going to need something like 30 grams of high quality fish oil a day, which is going to be like 300 to 400 calories of consumption of fish oil. But obviously add that into your calories and track that in MyFitnessPal. But this makes an enormous difference. This increases DHEA, which is a hormone in the body. I've tested this myself. Like I'm cutting body fat at the moment, and I'm taking high quantities of fish oil, and it works really well. It also helps as an appetite suppressant. It has a ton of other benefits for general health, but that's number one. Number two, vitamin D3, 4,000 IUs or 5,000 IUs a day. I will go into a lot of detail on supplements on the next video to explain why this is so important. Zinc, this is kind of a precursor to testosterone, really, really important. And one of the most important ones is magnesium. Just do not take this in the day, take it before bed because it makes you sleepy. It really helps with stress and it helps you sleep like a baby. So those are the most important ones. There is some others. I'll cover them on the next video. Okay, so conclusion. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Diet and nutrition is the key to health and happiness. It may fix 99% of your current problems. You need to find your baseline first of all. So you need to get blood tests done and you need to check your body fat. Follow the Equator rule. You know, the further you are away from the equator, the less carbs you need to consume. Only eat meat, fish, eggs, green vegetables until you're at 10% body fat. Refeed on carbs and, you know, your cravings of bread and pasta 1 to 2 meals a week once you're at a reasonable body fat. If you're finding it really, really hard, then yeah, of course do it. Listen to your body, but it's easy for this to take over. You will be surprised when you follow this diet how much you don't have those cravings. And intermittent fast 3 to 4 days per week and do extended fasts once a month. The next video will be on supplements and why they're important. I'll go into detail on all of them, all the ones I follow and the things that really matter. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, for a limited time I've opened up my DMs on Twitter, so no matter what your current issues are, no matter what they are, anything related to, it can be related to wealth, it can be happiness, anything, I'd really like to help. You know, feel free to DM me. I'll put a link in the description. It's INVThoughts is the username on Twitter, Investor Thoughts, and I'll be happy to help in any way that I possibly can. So I'll see you on the next one. I hope this was helpful.